Hello, all, and welcome. My name is Kristen Husett. I'm the program manager at the American Institute of the History of Pharmacy. I'd like to welcome you today to our talk with Dr. Christiane Staiger. How is pharmacy reflected in popular music? Examples from a pharmaceutical playlist. We're very excited to have Christiane with us today. She studied pharmacy at the University of Mainz and received her doctorate in the history of pharmacy from the University of Marburg, both Germany. From 2012 to 2017, she held the lectureship in history of pharmacy at the University of Mainz. She works on a wide range of research topics in the history of pharmacy and has a lifelong interest in music, which led to the project of the pharmacy playlist. Again, we're very excited to have her with us today during our lunch hour. And it is not lunch where it is not noon where Christiane is right now. So again, we're very thankful that she is taking time out of her day to do this. And for everybody else who has joined us, thank you. And Christiane, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen, for the kind introduction. Good evening from Germany, where I'm sitting. Pharmacy and music. Some aspects have been well researched, in particular pharmacy in the opera with the PhD dissertation of Doris Zaug from Switzerland. And Christoph Friedrich from the University of Marburg has also investigated pharmacists that were active as musicians. My approach was different. I wanted to have pharmaceutical playlist. So I started collecting and asked a couple of friends and colleagues for songs. And then I soon realized that I stepped into a B stock because there's material in abundance. So far, I have collected over 1,000 songs, and this only because I've implemented strict inclusion and exclusion criteria. The aim of my playlist is to collect many facets. I want to know how the image of the pharmacist or of the pharmacy or of the drug is represented in popular music. So diversity is before completeness, because I can never achieve that. I also want to include different languages in my collection. And so far, I have not come too far with that. Beside English and German, systematic collecting or a systematic review of songs in different languages is still to do on my list. The song comes into my collection when a drug substance or finished drug is mentioned in the title or the text, the lyrics. I also include excipients, with the exception of alcohol, a dosage form, a mode of application, the image of the pharmacy and the pharmacist. All that qualifies for my playlist. The discourage of drug misuse and abuse is also a topic I would like to cover. And I have found a few songs that even are related to drug productions. For example, the percolator is mentioned in a few songs. Also, desired and undesired effects are a focus of my collection. What are the limitations or exclusion criteria? Nicknames or street names for drugs are not considered because I think that taking drugs from the street is not very pharmaceutical. And this also is the case with alcohol. That's a topic which is far too broad, and a line in the lyrics with a drink in my hand is also not very pharmaceutical. I also excluded all hallucinations and paraphrases of drug abuse, like flying high. So the drug or the side effect has really to be mentioned. Why did I exclude colloquial language? As you can see from a paper in the year 2021, there are, for example, 84 nicknames mentioned for opioids. And when you read a few of them, you will realize that this is also much too far to collect that systematically in a pharmaceutical sense. But all this will become clearer when I present you a few examples. Let's start with the pharmacist. The first song I would like to present here is also the oldest in my collection, composed in 1885 by Gustav Kant. Here in a record in the 1920s is a German song, and it's mainly done with one word.
Es war einmal ein Apotheker, Apotheker, Apotheker,
So there is a lot of repetition of one single word, Apotheker, which is pharmacist in German. And those of you who can read music might have realized that the snipping I've just presented is the one that is here on this page. The next example is from a later phase of music from the 1960s. It's Mr. Pharmacist, and as you can see from the video, now we can see pharmaceutical doing by the pharmacist. He's counting tablets and so on, as you will see from the video.
Mr. Pharmacist, can you help me out today in your usual lovely way? Oh, Mr. Pharmacist, I insist. Can you give me something that will persist, Mr. Pharmacist? Dear pharmacist, won't you please give me some energy, Mr. Pharmacist, Mr. Pharmacist.
Although the video is related to dispensing, we have also a first song with the hint that drugs are misused and that a pharmacy or the pharmacist might be a source for this drug consumption. The next video is from this millennium. It's an Italian song, and it is related to the idea of the young people making this song that pharmacists are rich people.
Da bambino volevo fare il calciatore, lo youtuber, l'influencer, ma vedendo come va il mondo, ho io la soluzione per diventare ricchi. Mamma, voglio fare il farmacista, ci sta, fare i soldi come un farmacista, ci sta, 100k coi tamponi, ci sta, Lamborghini, Gucci, bella vista, ci sta, e contare sti milioni, bro.
While the video is related to symbols and tokens of Italian richness, like, for example, the Lamborghini. Let's move on with the pharmacy and the drugstore. The first example is a French example, and there also speed in popular music is an important part.
Dans les pharmacies, on vend du nougat et du chocolat, des bonbons au citron, des stylos, des poupées gentilles pour les petites filles. Et pour les garçons, des lapins qui sont sauteurs et polissons. On vend de tout, des tout blancs qui se tiennent debout tout tremblants, des arlequins, des cailleries et tout un lot de quincailleries. Dans les pharmacies,
As we have seen from the songs related to the pharmacist, also the pharmacy is described in a positive manner. It's a place with a particular smell, with a particular attitude for the customers. So that's what is sung here. The next song is from a musical from New York, The Unbeatable, written and initiated by a woman suffering from breast cancer. And there, the story of a lady suffering from breast cancer is in the middle, in the center of this musical. I wrote her an email and I received the permission to show you this snipping, in particular as the lyrics are not available online, but I received them from the composer directly. And there is a nice turn in this snipping of music as well.
When you've reached a pressure point, we've got Pro. Don't forget that Plavix keeps your heart on the go. For anxiety, there's your friendly Ativan. If you lose your energy, you'll need Epigen. And if you're just bummed out, try diazepam.
Now, before taking any of these drugs, check with your doctor first. Side effects may include nausea, heartburn, constipation, diarrhea, loss of appetite, hunger, sleep deprivation, drowsiness, anxiety, fatigue, and uncontrollable bodily functions.
You can find them at your local pharmacy, your friendly neighbor, your local pharmacy.
Aspects come from this video. First, the pharmacy again is described as a friendly place, your local pharmacy, your friendly neighbor. And the second is they are making fun of the law related to advertisements in the United States, which are direct to the customer, that you have to mention all the side effects that might come into place. Let's move on to the medicine itself. Adam Kay is a doctor himself. However, he doesn't practice as a medical doctor anymore, but he does songs and acts as a comedian. And you can see this from the song we will listen in a minute.
There's aspirin, adrenaline, and also aminophylline, amphetamine, adenosine, mentin, and rifampicin, amoxicillin, penicillin, heparin, and warfarin, estrogen, progesterone, and canesten, and chlorophene, bendiphobethiosidine, and also cyclophosphamide, metoclopramide, acetazolamide, tropicamide, loperamide, amiloride, and cyclazine, and frusemide. And if you're up the duff, you would best avoid thalidomide.
Here again, speed in the music is part of the attracting part of this song. And I've selected another example, which is a pure love song, Medicine from James Arthur. You make my heart beat faster than adrenaline. You are my medicine. That's a real love song, isn't it? Where love is, sex is often not far. And this takes us to the first group of drugs I would like to discuss with you, namely antibiotics. And they come into place when it comes to sexual transmissible diseases.
She's penicillin penny. If you ever see her passing through, I better run into your house before she stops and lays a little on you. Which it hurts. If you ever let her in your door, it takes 20 million units or more to cure the love that penicillin penny is gonna lay on you.
The song is pharmaceutically interesting also because for the first time a dosage is mentioned. It takes 20 million units or more. The next song is quite the opposite when it comes to antibiotics. I have to explain what's behind this song. There is a student choir at the medical clinic at the University of Hamburg-Eppendorf in Germany. And they have created a series of songs related to antibiotics. All of them come in different styles. And this one related to penicillin comes in the style of a medieval manuscript. You see the faces here, they are the members of the choir, and they are animated, as we will see in a second. And they explain a story. There are 3 people in the center experimenting on various penicillins. One is a fictitious substance, penicillin B. The second is the injectable form, penicillin G, not to confuse with the tablet form, penicillin B.
Penicillin B spricht, wer keinen Geist Verlieren bei Essen und Verdau, kann getrost verzehren das Penicillin V.
So not only the video and the music comes is in the style originated in the transition to the Renaissance, but also the text. This is an old German, and that's the reason why I did not translate it word by word. Let's move on to antidepressants. For me, surprisingly, antidepressants are the largest subgroup in my sample. When I started collecting, I thought that this might be the case to all drugs that also can be misused, like opioids or heroin or other drugs. But in fact, this subgroup is smaller than the subgroup of antidepressants. In my sample, 28% of all songs are related to depression and antidepressants in drug therapy, which is a lot. And what is also very special about this subgroup is that there is a significant portion of instrumental music. 25% in this subgroup are instrumental songs, so I can only see from the title that there is a connection to antidepressants. In the rest of my playlist, only 8% of all songs are instrumental songs. So there is a significant difference. And we also have to ask, why is this the largest subgroups? One of the possible explanations is that many artists process their personal burden and experience with the disease and the effects or side effects of drugs in the songs. And this is interesting because there is a cross relation to music when it comes to depression, because music is used as a therapeutical agent. There are further interactions between depression and music. Music acts as a mood enhancer and is used therapeutically. So there is a cross relation. There is also a paper I have not put on the slide here that asks the question, which music is best to be used in music therapy? And the answer is quite simple. It's the music that is the one liked most by the patient. So if patients love dark music, this might also be a mood enhancer when it comes to music therapy. Also, the music is said to listen for healthy people. There is a lot to say about antidepressants in popular music, and I made an entire single talk out of it, which takes 45 minutes. So there are a lot of aspects to discuss. And for today, I have only selected one example, and this is an example where antidepressants are advertised and be sung in a positive manner as a good therapeutical agent.
Antidepressants will save your life. When there's a problem, you can close your eyes. Search an answer in a glass of bleach, because I know the pain in your vein won't just go simply away. I think I can, but I can't help. In your dark is a day, just take a pill, I'm sure you will, to help assure you from away.
So the song is addressing a few aspects. Suicide is a large problem in patients suffering from depression. So the first line is antidepressants will save your life as a mood enhancer. And also the last line of the snipping I've selected here, in your darkest day, just take a pill, I'm sure you will, is something that should express a positive therapeutical effect of antidepressants. Let's move on to drug abuse. As I said, also a large subgroup in my collection, however, the second largest only. And I found some scientific papers about the drug abuse in popular music. The first one is an analysis of the top 100 Billboard songs over the years in decades, so 68, 78, 88, and so on. And the authors of this paper found that there was an increase of mentioning of substance abuse over the decades. And they also found that drugs are very much more likely to be portrayed positively than negatively, which is a problem when it comes to society. So drugs and drug misuse is more advertised than a warning. And this takes us to a second paper where the authors analyzed when drug abuse is so much advertised in songs, what does this mean for children and adolescents? And they counted on the assumption that young people are listening to popular music about 2 hours a day, how often they are referenced with this positive message about drug abuse. And they found that the average adolescent is exposed to approximately 84 references to explicit substance use daily in popular songs, which I think is a lot. However, this exposure widely varies in music genres, as we can assume rap songs have a much higher rate than rock or pop songs. But I think this is still a lot, 84 positive references to drug abuse. That's really a lot. Another paper addresses the fact that particular genres of music are particularly related to substances to be abused. For example, country and western music to alcohol, jazz in particular, bebop to heroin, reggae and stoner rock to marijuana and cannabis, the soul-influenced pop to amphetamine, rap to crack, cocaine, cannabis, and more, rock also to cocaine, and rave and dance to ecstasy. The next paper I found is the one I have shown you a snipping already. That's the paper where I took the 84 nicknames for opioids from. As you can see on this slide, there are also a lot of nicknames for amphetamines and also for sedatives. And this paper addresses that not only street drugs, but also an increase in prescription drug misuse, those from the pharmacy, is addressed in the top rap music from 2007 and 2017, which they investigated also in relation to the Billboard magazine. So that's also a lot. We can have an hour talk about drug misuse and popular music. I have selected for today only 3 substances according to the ABC. Let's start with A as amphetamines. And the song I've selected is also an older song in my collection. It's related to the Swiss drink Ovaltine, which is a caffeine-free drink, and therefore advertised for the night as a nightcap. You can see this on this poster. Please, in the video, watch also how the woman that is drinking this drink is shown.
Mrs. Murphy couldn't sleep. Her nerves were slightly off the beat until she saw her problem with a can of Ovaltine. She drank a cupful most every night, and ooh, how she would dream, until something rough got in the stuff and made her neighbors scream, "Ow! who put the Benzedrine in Mrs. Murphy's Ovaltine? Sure was a shame, don't know who's to blame, 'cause the old lady didn't even get his name. Where did she get that stuff? Now she just can't get enough. It might have been the man who wasn't that. Now Jack, that guy's a square. She never ever wants to go to sleep. She said that everything is solid all real. Now Mr. Murphy don't know what it's all about, 'cause she went and threw the old man out. Clout, who put Benzedrine in Mrs. Murphy's Ovaltine? Now she wants to swing the Highland fling, says that Benzedrine's the thing that makes her spring. Ah, spring it now, Gibson. This is the second chorus, you know. Name of this chorus is called Who Put the Nemutals in Mr. Murphy's Overalls? I don't know.
In this video, we see some aspects of the role model of a housewife during the 1940s. The woman is doing her housework, she's exhausted, then she's taking the amphetamine, and what she does first is to even more even more do her housework enthusiastically before her neighbor comes in, grabs her, and takes her on the stage. And I love also the idea that at the same time, her husband is put asleep with the Nembutols. Let's move on to B as benzodiazepines. The most famous song in this regard is from the Rolling Stones, the very first song that addressed this category of drugs, benzos, as the yellow pill. Let's listen.
Kids are different today. I hear every mother say, mother needs something today to calm her down. And though she's not really ill, there's a little yellow pill. She goes running for the shelter of her mother's little helper, and it helps her on her way, gets her through her busy day. Things are different today. I hear every mother say, cooking fresh food for her husband's just a drag. So she buys an instant cake and she buys a frozen steak and goes running for the shelter of her mother's little helper, and to help her on her way, get her through her busy day. Doctor, please, some more of these. Outside the door, she took for more. What a drag it is getting old.
For me as a pharmacist, this song is also important in a different regard, because it's one of the first songs in my collection clearly advertising overdosing. Doctor, please, some more of these. Outside the door, she took 4 more. So that's a pharmaceutical aspect we should keep in mind as well. Let's move on to C, like cocaine. When you read the literature, you can often find the idea that David Bowie popularized cocaine during the 1980s. However, this does not fit with my collection. He was not the first. I have many examples related to cocaine during the 1920s, because it was used then as a party drug. The first songs do not fulfill my inclusion criteria, because cocaine is not mentioned directly, but only indirectly emphasized. But already in the late 1920s, there are songs that clearly address cocaine, and I brought you an example of these. Where is the song? Sorry, the music example is not here. But there is another aspect related to cocaine, which I found in the literature. Again, authors did an analysis of song lyrics, And they found a gap between mentioning of cocaine in the lyrics and the problem that occurred on the street, which was the difference of 2 years. And their idea is that society could use this gap when there is an indicator, there might be an indicator in popular music to a particular drug that might cause problems, that there is some time that could be used to react before this becomes a real street problem. I'm not sure if we can generalize the findings of this paper, because this is only one example they have analyzed, but I like the idea, so I wanted to present this aspect and this idea here in my talk as well. Let's move on to particular diseases and also dosage forms. In asthma therapy, we have the inhalers, and I found a song clearly addressing the use of this dosage form.
I've got asthma and I can't breathe. I went to the doctor and he gave me one of these. I've got asthma and I cannot breathe. Can't breathe at all. I've got an inhaler with me. I am choking and my face is blue. Well, it's getting worse. I think I will have to lie down. 'Cause I've got asthma. Yes, I've got asthma. Yes, I've got asthma.
Not only a clear addressing of the disease and the therapies made in this song, but also some pharmaceutical aspects related to the prescription. What about refills? When the pharmacy is closed, what can I do as a patient? I have a blue face, I can't breathe, I'm still wheezing. That's the second part of this song. There are many more aspects to discuss, and I could go on for hours. However, we don't have so much time for that. There are, of course, many, many brands and drug names mentioned in the song, from aspirin to Zoloft, NSAIDs, opioids, corticoids, vitamins, anesthetics. There is also a heavy metal instrumental song called Ketoconazole 2%. We don't know what the artist of that song and the composer suffered from, but we can only imagine. Of course, there are many more songs related to dosage forms like tablets, suppository, cough syrup, and other. As I mentioned, pharmacy tools, the percolator, and I also found even one song where pharmacokinetics is mentioned. However, this song is not made by a pop or rock artist, but by a medical doctor who has music as his hobby, and he did a song about propofol, and he also addressed the pharmacokinetics of this drug. Of course, we have numerous other indications that we could discuss, like allergy, sleep, and diabetes. And I found a very nice example related to diabetes. Swiss researchers thought that music might be good to release insulin from a cell model. So they have placed 2 mice in this particular experiment directly on the speaker, and they tested different kinds of music and measured how much insulin was released. And in fact, they found different results. For example, no music or the BBC News or wind or rain didn't have a large effect, but songs like We Will Rock You, The Avengers, or a 50 Hertz permanent sound gave results in their experiment. And this was not a paper released on April 1st as an April Fool's paper, but a serious paper from Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology. So maybe we can hope for some further research in this regard, but I still think that a practical help for patients is still far away. So I brought you a final example, which is related to the advice coming from the pharmacist in his pharmacy, and we will listen to that song.
So now you have a cold, you didn't do as you were told. You went out without galoshes in the rain.
And you spent your late nights boozing instead of home a-snoozing. And now you've just begun to feel the pain.
The viruses inside of you are multiplying 2 by 2 and dance the Macarena in your brain. Your eyelids thick and droopy,
your nose is raw and soupy.
You ask for my advice,
let me explain. You need to take acetaminophen or just a little aspirin, acetylsalicylic for the pain. A dose of guaifenesin, plain and simple Robitussin to liquefy the mucous membranes. Oxymetazoline or phenylpropanolamine to open up the sinuses and such. Then try to recoup with a little chicken soup. Call your mother, 'cause it pays to keep in touch.
You have tried those new age therapies and herbal homeopathies, high colonic nozzles and the rest.
But those echinacea potions and royal jelly lotions have failed to tame the panther in your chest.
Those crystal packing druids cannot abate the fluids that drizzle from your nostrils to your vest. The answer, it is plain to see,
is found within my pharmacy.
So step right in and be
my guest. You need to take acetaminophen or just a little aspirin, acetylsalicylic for the pain. A dose of guaifenesin, plain and simple Robitussin to liquefy the mucous membranes. Oxymetazoline or phenylpropanolamine to open up the sinuses and such. Then try to recoup with a little chicken soup. Call your mother, 'cause it pays to keep in touch.
Say it a little slower. I've tried to write it down.
You need to take acetaminophen or just a little aspirin, acetylsalicylic for the pain. A dose of guaifenesin, plain and simple Robitussin to liquefy the mucous membranes. Oxymetazoline or phenylpropanolamine to open up the sinuses and such. Then try to recoup with a little chicken soup. Call your mother, 'cause it pays to keep in touch. Then try to recoup with a little chicken soup. Call your mother, 'cause it pays to keep in touch.
So let's summarize. I hope I could show you that there is a lot of material outside which covers diverse aspects of pharmacy and popular music. So far, I've collected more than 1,000, but I'm still counting and still enlarging my collection. The pharmacy and the pharmacist are covered in a positive way. I haven't found different songs by now. And I think that's also makes sense because the patients know the pharmacy as a positive place where they can get help and where they can get their drugs and therapy. Multiple other aspects of pharmacy are covered in the songs, like substances, brands, advertising, dosage forms, tools, and so on. Interestingly, the substances used for depression are the largest subgroup, followed by the subgroup of drugs of songs related to drug addiction, and we also have a broad cross-section of music genres that are represented from country music to metal. There is everything out there. The text and the music analysis shows that many of the artists process their personal experience with the use and also with the misuse of drugs in the songs. And that's where we have to follow what's out there. I found 2 songs that where an artist claims himself of drug misuse in such a way that the prosecutor could use the lyrics in court for prosecution. That's also interesting how often, how openly the artists tell about their use and misuse of drugs. However, my collection will never be complete, and if you have a song in a language different from German and English, please drop me an email so that I can complete that into my collection as well. For download, I brought you a handout with QR codes of the songs I have in my talk so that you can listen to them fully, and I will give the PDF to Kristen so she can send it out or make it available on the website for download. Thank you very much, and I'm open for questions and discussion.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I am going to allow people to unmute themselves, and feel free to ask questions by unmuting yourself and asking, or putting them into the Q&A.